Okay, so I had a couple of questions regarding some things that need clarification, some tips and clarifications on techniques and stuff in some of the videos I've shown. Oops. So that's what this video is about, okay? Is a couple of technique questions I'm going to answer. So, let's talk about two things today. We're going to talk about second dealing and we're going to talk about faults cutting. Let's talk about the second dealing just to get it out of the way. The question was, hey, I push from the side of the deck using my full finger to fill out two cards. How do I do it from the top side? So if you need extra guidance or like specifics on this kind of detailing on how to second deal from that position, I highly recommend you watching Richard Turner's masterclass on Vanishing Ink. It's a great class. It'll teach you the full basics of that kind of work involving that method for second dealing. So if you have that, use that. Now, on to the actual tips. The first thing I do is I bend the card so that it's beveling inwards. And the opposite of the bevel I do for a center deal or a bottom deal, I bevel like this. Sorry, I bend like this, and then I bevel the cards to the side and back like this. Okay, that's what that looks like. I don't know how well that comes off, but that is how the bevel looks. So these fingers are going to guide the sides, and the ring fingers and the pinky fingers make sure it's only two cards. The middle finger kind of just rests on the side, okay? My thumb is going to contact this edge, and it doesn't just push off to the side, it's pulling downwards, okay? So it's pulling downwards, and when it pulls downwards from that top edge, because of the bevel, the whole gist of it is I'm barely sliding one card down. I don't know how well you can see that, but one card is being slid down, and then it makes contact. My thumb will make contact with the second card, and then it slides across. And then my fingers here just cut that off to the side, and then I can deal that card out. And that's exactly how it works. So every time I pull my thumb back, it doesn't fully reset perfectly to square. It resets like this, where there's still a brief in the deck, and then it's my thumb that pushes that brief over. And when you get good at this brief is going to get smaller and smaller. That way you can deal it however you'd like. And that's exactly how I recommend, or how I deal from that top edge. So one more time, I'm pulling it down. My thumb is contacting this edge here along with this card, and it's pushing it out. Just slightly, just enough to be able to get a hold of that card, get a purchase on that card, and be able to turn it. And of course, you can do this stud style, or you can do this however way you need to get it done. So that's my tip for the second deal. The next thing was about the up the ladder cut, or like just keeping a clean, smooth kind of gambler's cut like this. So let's talk about that cut first. A lot of people, when they cut, they kind of just grab packets like this, and that's fine. And when they do up the ladder, they do the same thing. But what happens for most people is that when they do that, you get something like this, okay? Where cards are sliding, and then it's hard to keep nice and square and stuff, and it makes a mess. You want clean packets, that way you can have better cuts. So what are the best ways to combat this? If you need further guidance on kind of the idea of fixing this, I'm going to give you basically the whole idea right now. But if you want if you want the advice from like someone a little bit more professional, look up Jason Ledeni's masterclass on Vanishing Ink. Anyway, moving on. What you do is, for just a general, let's start off with this. For a general gambler's cut like this. So for a general gambler's cut, you're going to get a break at the back, a small one. So at the back, you have this small gap right here. Then you're going to break at the break, set a new break, and then you're going to break by pulling down. So you're going to pull down on a packet and then you're going to take that packet, put it on top, and then grab at the brake. So that is how you do a clean Gambler's False Cut. Now, a variation of that would be the three-way cut, where you do something like this. Oh, well, that was bad. Hold on. Where you do something like this, and to keep that one clean, it's the same thing. So you're going to get a brake like this, except this time you're going to throw this packet down. So throw it down. You're coming over across like this with a step. You're pulling a packet from the bottom, then a packet from the top, and then you can either put this on top or you can strip this out like so. And that would be how you would do something like that. The last way is getting your up the ladders to be smooth, because some people would do up the ladders something like this. Sorry, something like this. If you can do it smoothly, you can do something like this. And I don't know how much different that looks, but to me, I feel like it definitely feels different. Like, the biggest difference is in the feeling of how that cutting action looks, because the real cutting looks like this. The real version of that cutting looks like this. So you could do a fake version of that cutting that looks like this, and that is hopefully way closer to the actual action, because when you're doing false cuts, false steals, and false shuffles and stuff, you want it to look as much as possible like the actual version. Does that make sense? So if I were to do a real cut and shuffle like this versus a fake version of that, which would look like this, that's what it would look like, you know? So I would do something like this, and then that would be the most realistic version of doing it a false way. So that's your goal with false cuts. The biggest tip I have for you is when you're starting every false cut sequence that's like that, start off by getting a mini break underneath the first packet, and this should allow clean and fair cuts. Not fair cuts, but clean cuts. So if there's any other questions you guys have about some easy moves or even some complicated moves referring to the bottom deal, you can hit me up on Instagram. I know that there's kind of a problem on Instagram where if I don't follow you back, you can't really, we can't communicate. So if you do have a question, just leave a comment that you've tried to friend me on Instagram or something, and I'll look into that and we can figure that out. So anyway, any other questions you can also leave in the comments below. So road to 200, at 200 subs, I am going to be doing a second deal tutorial about the I still haven't decided, probably to keep consistent with following a bottom deal path or something, or a false deal path. We're going to do an Erdnase style second deal, and we're going to do both a stud push off second, as well as one for the strikes, in case we have people who want to learn how to do it with strikes. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.